Carnivore, carnivore, no greens. I keep eating only proteins. Carnivore, carnivore, so lean. I'm the everyday carnivore, know what I mean?
If you know a child with autism, you're going to want to watch this video. Today, I have a special treat. I'm going to introduce you to a person that I met in our community who reached out to me because of a specific need that he had in helping his son with autism. Now, what really spoke to me is I have a son with autism. If you've seen my children on camera in the few videos where I've shared them, my youngest son, Ethan, is 16 and has autism. He's very high functioning, but he has challenges that as a parent, I wish I could help him overcome and help him smooth out those obstacles if there's any way to do that. And so when this gentleman reached out to me, I was intrigued. Mozamel lives on the exact opposite side of the planet. And as he spoke to me through email, I realized that we have a lot in common. And I'm looking forward to him sharing his results and his experiences through using the carnivore diet to help his son, to see what I can learn and hopefully what you can learn and you can share along the way. All right. So welcome, Mozamel. Am I saying your name right?
You are saying my name just right. And I'm
Okay.
glad to be here, Jeff. I have been following your YouTube channel for quite a while now, and you have amazing stories over there. And along with those stories, looking forward to share my own one with you and your community.
All right, super. So go ahead and kind of share what you shared when you reached out to me about your son. Kind of introduce us to your son.
Absolutely. Well, my son, his name is Mahir, and he's now 13 years old. And we came to know about his autism, that he is in autism spectrum very early. Like when he was like 1 year to 2 years, we came to know that he is on the spectrum. But the good news is he is highly functioning. He has his own ways of communicating with us. But as parents of autism, like children with autism, like you also know that there are lots of other challenges that we constantly need to face and to help our child who is on the spectrum. So from that side, recently Mahir turned 13, and he is in his teenage years. And when he was coming up into these 12 to 13 years, we found that it was getting harder and harder for us to control his emotions. He was having some autism-related irritability, or sometimes in psychiatry, they call it intermittent explosive disorders. They cannot control their impulses. Like in certain triggers, they become suddenly violent or start breaking maybe their favorite things. It's so, in past 2 to 3 years, I have found that this tendency of my son was growing every month after month. And we went to psychiatrist, we went to therapist. In his school, he also has good support from therapists and his teachers. But this behavior was increasing up to such a level that it was not only impacting his own life, both at school and at home, and also taking a toll on our family lives. Like I have my other child who is a 7-year-old daughter. She's a 7-year-old daughter, and
Right.
my wife too. So I was thinking, okay, what can I do to help my son? Because when I went to psychiatrist to figure it out, okay, what's next can be done, the psychiatrist was increasing the doses of the medicine. And with the increased doses, and as I was on the side also researching how complementary help I can get out there, I found that treating a mental symptoms like this is sort of hit or miss, and it takes a lot of fine tuning of the medications and other stuffs. Sometimes when we start a new medication, the symptoms starts going bad, and that actually happened with Mahir. When he was introduced to some new medications, his symptoms exacerbated, they became worse, and our lives was, like our daily life was getting so much hampered that even at one point, me and my wife was pondering, okay, how can we handle the whole thing? It's getting
Right.
out of control day by day. So as we were progressing, I was thinking, okay, in terms of if I, as my day job, let me introduce, I work as head of research and engineering in a fintech, and over there my job is to do some research and then do a hypothesis and then try to implement that and then get data, and through that data create a feedback loop and try to figure out and solve problems. So I thought, if I'm doing that at my day job, why don't I try to do that with my son too? What do I have
Yeah.
to lose? Maybe something I can find out
Right.
there that might help me to help my son to come back some sort of normalcy. Through
Right.
that thread, I found out this whole new way of a lifestyle, the therapeutic ketosis, and following up on the carnivore lifestyle. So that sums up my story sort of over here, how I reached out to you, because I started therapeutic ketosis journey with my son on the 12th of April. And from that day till now, things have taken sort of a U-turn for him.
That's awesome.
So
That's awesome.
if you want, I can dig more into it,
Yes, absolutely. So before we go on, I want to bring up your family picture one more time and tell me your daughter's name,
Her name is Ilana.
Ilana, and then
Yes.
your wife's name.
She is Ishrat. She is a doctor. She is a surgeon, general surgeon,
Okay.
and that's my family.
All right. And so it's Mahir. Am I saying
Mahir.
it right?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Mahir. Perfect.
All right. So fantastic. And I know that we spoke before, and you're hoping that Mahir will come in and meet me on screen for a moment. So if you'd like to bring him on, let's do
Sure.
that now.
Sure.
Jeff, how are you?
I'm
Jeff,
good. How are you?
You have to talk in English. Have a seat.
I am fine, thank you.
Have a seat. Come
All
closer
right.
to the mic. We'll talk in English, okay?
Yeah.
So
So Mahir, thanks for coming on my YouTube channel. This is fantastic. I'm excited to talk to you. So what do you think about your dad talking to a guy all the way in the United States right now?
you can feel free to talk with Jeff.
Jeff, when is your birthday, Jeff?
My birthday is May 25th, 1977. When is your birthday?
April 7th.
Oh, okay. So you had a birthday not long ago. How old are you?
13.
13. Very good. So your dad is telling me about eating different foods this month. What kind of food have you been eating for the past month?
Eggs and steak and fried chicken.
Eggs and
Fried
steak
chicken,
and
hello.
fried chicken? Yeah.
Yes.
Do you like meat and eggs?
Yes.
Yeah.
Jeff,
Yes, sir.
do you want to go to grandmother's house?
I would love to, but that's a long way for me. I don't think I'll be able to.
Yes.
Which country are you in?
I'm in the United States. Do you see my flag up here? And I was born in Canada. You see that one right there.
Which city are you in?
Oh, so I'm in Alabama. The city is Birmingham.
Alabama.
And tell me where you are?
Bangladesh.
Bangladesh. Very good. Well, it's so nice to meet you, Mahir. I hope
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. I hope you have a good breakfast.
Okay, Mahir, you can go.
All
Yes,
right.
you can.
Well,
Yeah.
very good. I appreciate him coming on. I know it could be a little bit intimidating, meeting a stranger on camera, and he didn't know what I would ask him or anything like that. So that's pretty cool.
No, it's okay. He needs to learn,
Mm-hmm. So why don't you go ahead and just start to tell us, to tell me what kind of change you've seen, and you were sharing with me online. I'd love for you to share, the way you were documenting what his behavior was and that kind of thing.
Absolutely. So as I was saying, I was really trying to figure out, okay, what can we do complementary to what the psychiatrist has suggested. My goal was, if there is any way that we can start reducing his dependency on medicine and try to figure out alternate ways to help him to reduce the impulsive behavior so that he can continue his studies at school and also have some sort of normalcy at his family life. So through my research and understanding, I was trying to figure out, okay, what sort of interventions that we can do to reduce mental instability or mental disorders. And as I was searching about all these literatures, I went to PubMed, I went to Google Scholar to figure out, like keywords like autism and diet and interventions. And as I was searching through, one link popped up, which is of Metabolic Mind. I'm not sure whether you have heard of them or not, but that's a very interesting story. Like, I think the Roblox game that kids play around. Yeah. The founder of Roblox, his name is I think it's David Baszucki, and he's a multi-billionaire at this moment.
Okay.
So David and his wife has a son whose name is Matt. So Matt was in a psychiatric disorder. He had bipolar disorder and schizophrenia or schizoaffective disorder. And they were trying very hard to figure out, okay, how to solve mental disorders with their son. And what they found later on, through help of Dr. Chris Palmer, that therapeutic ketosis helped their son to control all of the mental disorders to such a level that it's almost into remission at this moment. So
it's almost, say it again.
It's in remission, like
remission. Okay.
Yeah, remission. The same incidents are not happening with their son. So when they figured it out, they created, with the help of another doctor, his name is Dr. Brett. He used to run a site called dietdoctor.com, and he was a very good proponent of ketogenic diet for medical interventions. So they worked with Dr. Brett and created a channel called Metabolic Mind and a website called metabolicmind.com. And through their links and everything, there are lots of information over there, okay, how diet can help people who have mental disorders. So as I was going through all of those literature, I joined some dots. I was trying to figure out, okay, neurologically, what are the neurotransmitters which are responsible for impulsive behavior? And through my research, I found there are two neurotransmitters which are called GABA and glutamate. And glutamate is excitatory, like it makes us more awake, more go-to, like more get things done. And where GABA is like, it calms us down. It gives a feeling of complacency, feeling of well-being, something like that. So I was trying to figure out in the parallel side, okay, how can I help Mahir to increase GABA in his brain so that he becomes not so impulsive with his emotions. Whenever something triggers, he does not jump right into it, or like break some things, or whenever he hears something unpleasant, impulsively he doesn't repeat that behavior. So during that time, what I figured it out, I can share. Let me share my screen where I did a research myself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All
So
right.
this is only for me. And as I was researching like about GABA and then how dietary intervention can show improvement with GABA regulation, I found the ketogenic diet and GABA regulation links and how ketogenic diet can enhance the GABA production in brain and help reduce this impulsive behavior. And through that journey, I was trying to figure out, okay, what's next? What's the next literature out there, and how next I can help Mahir? So just let me
So
stop sharing. Yeah,
let me interrupt you for a moment.
sure.
So I don't know how detailed you can get, but is it that we're adding certain things through a ketogenic diet that adds something that his system is low in or missing, or is it is the theory more that just reducing carbs is
It's
beneficial?
yeah, it is related to metabolism and how the whole hormonal function happens with
Okay.
metabolic therapy. So like the way our body runs, as we already some of us already know, like we can run on glucose or we can run on fat or basically ketone bodies. So
Right.
when we are in therapeutic ketosis, the when the metabolic mechanism switches to fat burning, what happens inside within these neurotransmitters, I don't know the very detail of it, but what I
Mhm.
came to understanding through the research is like the effectiveness and the production of GABA neurotransmitter increases. So there
Okay.
I found the link. Okay, there is something that I really need to dig deeper on therapeutic ketosis. And then as I was finding more and more literature on it, I found two books that helps me. One is by Chris Palmer, which is called Brain Energy, where he goes into much details about how we eat and how what we eat, how it can impact and help us to
Mhm.
regulate brain energy in such a way so that the mental disorders are being, like sort of helped with the diet that we consume in our day-to-day life. So there are very solid science-backed evidences over there. At the same time, there is another doctor called Georgia. He has a book. She has a book. Its name is "Change Your Diet, Change Your Mind." I think I'm saying it right. So that's another book that it really helped me to understand how we can change our diet to help our mind and how formulate everything together for my son. So let me share you some data. I think that probably would give you a bit more insight.
Yeah.
I was sharing my screen, I'm getting back to that. So this is sort of the event records that I was keeping, because I was really thinking, okay, what next I can do to help my son to control his impulsive behavior. So you can see that I was keeping, okay, this record happened in March 17th. He woke up and then he took his medicine. At the same time, I was thinking, was there anything that triggered him? Maybe some sad memories that he was having, any preceding behavior. He was relatively calm. But what did the event? He just ran to the kitchen and broke a glass. Post behavior, he was afraid, locked his room. Was there any intervention I could do? No, as the room was locked, I could not intervene. But later on, I tried to hug him and uh, calm him down. So I was taking all these notes and then trying to figure out, okay, what can be done. But the interesting part is, like in past from March 17th till you can see this record 12, which is on April 12th. So in a matter of near about less than 30 days, there was near about 12 incidents that happened, which were intermittent explosive disorders. Then I started as an experiment the therapeutic ketosis journey on, like April of 12th April. And after that, we started, there hasn't been any such incident except two incidents, record 13 and 14. And the interesting part is both of these records were preceded by extra carb intake, which were sort of unchecked. For the record 13, you can see that the trigger was he had cookies from teacher in the morning at
Ah,
school, which was unregulated. And on that very evening, what he did is he threw mug at the kitchen on the floor and he was agitated about it. If I go to record 14, I can see that, okay, the day it happened, he had a protein bar that had 21 grams of carbs and potentially the main culprit. Apart from that, he had also some vegetable oils, cooked chicken fries cooked in vegetable oils. And the event was he threw his clock on the floor and broke it. He also threw his phone. So these gave me a clear indication that when he is on therapeutic ketosis through his diet, he is not showing those aggressiveness. He is being much more calm, and he is also participating in his school and his studies. But when he is being kicked out of therapeutic ketosis, then he is getting in so agitated, but it is getting so difficult for him to maintain a regular healthy life. So that was like, to me, that was like a scientific discovery. I had no idea that this can happen. Our psychiatrist or doctors here didn't suggest such a way for us to help our son. They were maybe rightfully so, they were more relying on psychiatric medicine. But I have found this complementary way to that medicine is definitely helping my son. So
that's music to my ears. I'm so happy to hear those results. And if people are using medication and it's working for them, like, fantastic, that's great. But like you said, a lot of times with those kind of medications that you're taking for a long time, something else could change, and all of a sudden you have to adjust the medicine, or maybe their body gets adapted to it, and now you have to increase the dosage. And there's just too many variables to where there are other symptoms that come up or other effects in our lives when we're taking that medication. So if you can reduce the need for that medication or possibly completely eliminate it, that is fantastic. So I just wanted to share a little bit for anyone who's watching who doesn't have a child with autism. As a parent, one of the things that I've learned just from being around him, from being around my son, and then watching other people that have autism, and having a better understanding, a lot of times, especially with high functioning kids, I think outsiders don't understand the compulsiveness that you said something important that I think really captivates, that when he's having one of these episodes, he might break his favorite thing, right?
Yes.
It's not just anger. It's not just frustration that everyone gets. It's compulsive, explosive, uncontrollable. It's not, I'm making a conscious choice to do things. With my son, I don't know that I've ever heard that term before, and so I don't think he would fit right into that groove. But certainly when he gets emotional, there are parts of the way that he behaves that he can't stop himself. And so, for us, our main coping mechanism often, it happened last night. He got really animated and started to argue about a particular thing that happened at school. And my wife and I were about to leave the house we were going out to dinner to celebrate our anniversary, and we were only going to be gone an hour or two. And we said, you know what? We'll talk about it when we get back. And that time where he has time by himself, we guarantee every time that when we come back, he's going to have a totally different frame of mind. He's going to be much easier to talk to. He'll be apologetic for what was going on. And so I think it sounds like you're able to, with Mahir, like, change the conditions to where he's able to cope and stay in a smoother I guess with the GABA increase,
Yes.
um,
Yes.
be able to stay on a level playing field and make decisions on his own that, it's not so compulsive. Um,
Mhm.
is that fair? Do you feel like that's
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Like there has been times when I have one note written right in front of me, which is Mahir is not his symptoms. Like even
Mhm.
as a parents, we need to make ourselves understand that these are just symptoms that neurologically there are some misfires in his neurons, which
Mhm.
probably is being induced with his brain when he is being fueled by glucose. Like when he in the literature, that the two books that I have mentioned, which is Brain Energy and Change Your Diet, Change Your Mind, they talk about these things like the neural pathway which gets light up when we are using glucose as fuel as our brain are different than the neural pathways when we are using ketones. And for ketones, if those impulsive behavior, if they go away for certain people, it's like blessing to them. Yeah, it might be initially hard to make that change, especially for a child who is in autism. But at the
Mhm.
same time, as parents, we also know that people who are in autism, they like to follow routines, they like to follow
Yep.
predictability. So if we can predict our son and daughter, okay, you'll be having this food or that food, or
Yep.
Mahir, sugar, carb, and vegetable oil makes you sick. It makes you go, like aggressive or angry, which you don't want. You want to be a very good boy. When we repeat this sort of this sort of, like idea to him, he also gets it. And
Right.
what we are trying to do for him, that at school, if he finds some hyper palatable foods out there, so that he can have that self control to say no thank you. I know it will
Mhm.
be a long journey, but I
Yeah.
also believe that as parents of children in autism, there is hope, because they love routines, they love predictability, and if they know
That's
that
true.
something is good for them, probably they will follow it. And if it is a lifelong behavior, that will be amazing.
Yeah, I agree. I know with my son, I have tried to encourage the carnivore diet, and he's old enough that he prepares some of his food on his own now. And he is, a lot of times, children with autism want very bland food. And that's definitely the way he likes it. He likes chicken, he likes
Mhm,
ramen noodles, chicken flavor, the most
mhm,
plain flavor, cheese
mhm.
pizza, like he would eat just plain toast, that kind of stuff. Uh, he would be okay with eating those three or four foods that I just said every day for the next 5 years. Like it would not bother him a bit. So
Mhm.
I've tried encouraging him, and he's decided he likes bacon. So that's one, and working
Mhm.
towards trying to get him to create the habit, like you're saying, to have
Yeah.
options that are going to give him a better result like that. So that's
Yeah,
fantastic.
at the same time, uh, research has also proven when we are on a carnivore diet or a ketosis, in a therapeutic ketosis diet, what happens, like the human growth hormone, it tends to, grow higher within our
Mhm,
body. And through
mhm,
that, there is something called BDNF, which is, I think they call it brain derived neurotropic factor, which are like key ingredients of forming new neurons and forming new neural pathways. So when we are in this carnivore diet and when we are in this therapeutic ketosis diet, it also complements our children in autism to grow new neural pathways to complement their deficiencies. So that is something also
mm,
very important, I think. At the same time, I would quote Dr. Chris Palmer. There was one interview of him. I don't know whether you know a famous YouTube channel called The Diary of a CEO. I
mhm.
think you
Yeah,
might have heard
yeah.
about him. So that, yeah, on that channel, Dr. Chris Palmer says one thing about to the parents of children with autism is like, what you can do is get really hyper focused on super clean living through these dietary interventions. So that is what I'm trying to do with Mahir at this moment. And
Yeah.
that was one of the reason I reached out to you, because as I am learning more about it, I still didn't know that how long can I sustain? Should I go 1 year, 2 year, 5 years, 6 years? But as I have researched more and more about it, what I have figured out, like this diet, therapeutic ketosis or carnivore diet, it's not something new, because there were children with epilepsy 100 years ago, and this was a first like intervention offered by doctors back then, because they offered fasting. And carnivore diet and therapeutic ketosis is also fasting mimicking diet, which helps children or people with epilepsy to not have that seizures into their life. And as I have figured out that mental health is sort of a spectrum, when you have one mental disorder, then it tends to overlap into other disorders.
Yeah.
Someone who is having ADHD, if remain unchecked, that person may develop schizophrenia, may develop bipolar diseases. Someone who is in autism may have depression episodes or ADHD or something
Right.
like that. So when a diet is directly helping someone with epilepsy, if we, even as an experiment, implement that diet to our children, if we can see positive signs like I am experiencing with Mahir, then to me that is the scientific discovery, and I'm happy to continue on that path and learn more from all these communities, and especially thanks to you from communities like you and your
Oh,
channel too.
I think it's fantastic, and to me that's I've had kind of my carnivore journey, my carnivore results, and I've had so much positive effects. I just want to help other people share their story and other people find ways that it will help them. So this is right up my alley. It's something I'm very passionate about and
Oh,
enjoy.
just add one thing, like as I started with Mahir on the 12th of last month, I also started with myself, because if
Okay.
I'm not doing it, I cannot help him, because I have to explore and experience the same thing myself, because
Right.
otherwise, how I'm going to create the foods or how I'm going to create the ecosystem around him. And boy, oh boy, the change that I feel myself on
Yeah.
this diet, I feel like it's so much energy now.
Yeah.
Like even last yesterday, I had a very long day at office, and it was like near about 10 in the evening, and
Mhm.
most of my colleagues were slumping, and I
Oh
was like
yeah.
full of energy. I said, bring it on, I can go for maybe 5-6 more hours, it's okay. So at the same time, you feel, because the GABA increase that Mahir is having, you
Mm.
and I are also having, we
Mhm.
sense, we have that sense of extra calmness in our mind. It sort of feels like a superhuman, even though I may be exaggerating this, but the feeling is there, because
Yeah.
I can feel that I can tackle a lot of more challenges with my
Mhm.
life, for my family, for my son, and also for my work. So all of these are new to me, and as I'm helping Mahir, it is a positive feedback loop to my own life too. I am getting the benefit, I am
Absolutely.
getting the benefit along with it. Please, you
Yeah.
are asking me a question.
Yeah. No, I think that's exactly right. And just like you were saying, the mental health problems and struggles can pile on and can stack, but the positive changes can do the same, right? So
Yeah.
if you're able to improve your mental energy and your mood, and then maybe you sleep better, and then now you feel
Mhm.
like getting more exercise, they stack and compound, and
Yeah,
yeah, it goes the other direction. So
absolutely. Yeah.
that's what I was going to ask you is, are you and the rest of your family doing the carnivore diet or therapeutic ketosis, or
I am doing with Mahir, not
Mhm.
my wife, not my daughter yet. But
Okay.
maybe someday they will figure it out too. But I don't want to impose it on them, because
Right.
of course they have their own ways of finding their path. But maybe someday I think they will find, like, okay, this is something different. But
Mhm.
what my daughter is sort of leaning into it. When we are having
Yeah.
steaks and eggs, she wants her piece of steak too. She wants, like, she
Yeah.
comes, okay, she's getting a liking into it. My
Good.
wife is not a big meat eater. She likes her carbs, but I will leave it on her own journey to find it out, okay, whether
Mhm.
that's appropriate for her or not. On just wanted to add one thing. I was a heavy coffee drinker. Not heavy, but I was a regular coffee drinker. But
Mhm.
the day I started carnivore, I stopped coffee and tea both. But
Okay.
I I
Man,
don't feel.
you went just full out, right?
I went full out. Yeah, no sugar, no carb, no coffee, and the difference is amazing.
Mhm.
I don't miss it after 4 and 5 weeks. Yeah, initial 2 weeks, 1 to 2 weeks, it was difficult, I would say, because the
Yeah.
coffee withdrawal, it takes a time. But after 4 weeks, when I'm waking up in the morning, I feel I'm ready to go. As you said,
Mhm.
the sleep improved. Uh, After waking up, it doesn't take me that long to get going.
Mhm.
So these are all positive changes that I am experiencing myself. And as I'm experiencing it, even though my son might not be able to explain it, but I can see in his health, I can see it in his behavior, and also in his eyes that he's also enjoying it. Yeah.
Mhm. That's fantastic. So let's get a little bit detailed. In your email to me, you described, at least at the beginning, that you were doing about a 90% carnivore diet.
Mhm,
And
mhm.
you mentioned some different foods when you were talking. Just maybe
Yes.
give us a little description of what that looks like for you and Mahir.
Okay. For me, I think I am very much close to carnivore at this moment, except for the weekends. Is like whenever, for me, whenever I go to any social settings, I might have some vegetables. I might
Mhm.
have, definitely, I have a meat, maybe on the side, maybe light spinach, broccoli, and some other low carb vegetables. I definitely tend not to eat vegetables which are grown underground, because they are much more starchy vegetables, like
Sure. Yeah. Yeah.
potatoes, carrots, beetroots. But if you have leafy green vegetables like cabbage or broccoli or cauliflowers, I tend to take some of them over the weekends, because it's a social settings and I don't want to impose something too much on, like the people I am mixing with. For Mahir, his breakfast and dinner are carnivore. During lunchtime, when he is at home after school, he might have some vegetables on the side along with fish and meats. So that's why I said it's like 90% carnivore, but there is still a small amount of vegetable. I will leave it up to maybe for his mother and maybe for him also to decide whether he wants to switch to full carnivore or not, because this whole journey is also very new to me, and I am
Sure. Yeah.
also exploring in a very long term whether there is any side effect or not. But till now, to my research, I haven't found any, because I have met few carnivores who are through online communities, and few doctors who are suggesting me, okay, there are carnivore people who are in 20 years, 26 years in their
Yeah.
journey, and they are doing fantastic. So
Yeah.
I'm also learning at this moment.
Mhm.
But one thing to note here is, like, before starting this, I did a baseline measurement of blood, both for Mahir and myself. So
Oh,
if there
good.
are any major marker changes, I will be able to pinpoint it and fine tune the diet accordingly.
Oh, that's great. I think that's fantastic. So, Mazamel, let me ask, if someone's watching today and maybe they have a child with autism, maybe not, maybe they just know a child with autism, and they would like to learn more. If they want to learn more, I can link all the different doctors and books that you've referenced in the description of this video. So certainly, folks, take a look at those. But what advice would you give to someone that's, in the shoes that you were in 3 months ago or 6 months ago, and you're trying to find answers, and maybe they've watched this video? What would you say to them?
I would first start with that every person is different. I hope that what worked for Mahir might work for you or your children, because the data says so. But there is, I think we should try, we should experiment a bit. Okay, we don't have much to lose. Only thing is like probably we have to gain. So my suggestion would be this therapeutic ketosis. Do some research on therapeutic ketosis. There is a new psychiatric department that has formed at Stanford. It is called Metabolic Psychiatry, and their site is also metabolic-psychiatry.com. And this is sort of like cutting edge innovation with mental health research which is going on. So I would request you to connect with the cutting edge researches which are happening, and there is some truth to it. It's evidence backed. It might sound anecdotal, but there are pilot studies, there are pilot researches which are being going on, mass researches are being going on. Okay, how a therapeutic ketosis journey can help people who are having mental disorders or mental health issues. Autism is a spectrum. People with autism spectrum may tend to overlap with other mental disorder behaviors. So treatment which helps other mental disorder behaviors will also overlap with helping people who are at autism. So with that hypothesis, I would request you as a parents to put on the hat of a scientist and do your own research, validate your data, and take your decision. But I would kindly request, take this journey, this therapeutic ketosis journey, and carnivore journey. Carnivore journey is one of the purest form of therapeutic ketosis journey. So with high fat, moderate protein, you get into ketosis very easily. If your children loves this kind of food, you are already a couple of steps ahead. So try it out. The resources, definitely, Jeff, you will list them out there in the descriptions. Just to name a few: Metabolic Mind, they have a YouTube channel. Stanford site that I mentioned, Metabolic Psychiatry. There are lots of YouTube videos of Dr. Chris Palmer and Georgia Ed, and also I would mention another doctor. His name is Anthony Shafee. So he's also one of the very good proponent of this way of lifestyle. He also has a community, Discord community and Patreon community that you can check them out. Just grab all the information that you can find and create your own journey to help your.
I like it. And to anyone who's considering doing this, I would encourage you as the adult to go ahead and do it too. Maybe you feel like it's irresponsible to get your kid to do it. You try it out first. Try it out for 30 days and see if it doesn't give you all kinds of benefits. I have the benefit as a person whose channel is all about the carnivore diet. I hear all kinds of comments. I get notifications and comments on my different videos all day, every day. And yes, there are some people who say, I can't deal with the headaches. I'm 3 days in and I have no energy. I'm giving up. Or I did it for a week and it didn't do anything for me. Yes, there are those comments. And if you look through the comments of carnivore videos, you will see those. But for every one of those, there's 3, 4, 5, 7 different comments that are life-changing to the positive. And so I would encourage anyone who's considering it to take the leap, do what Mazamel did with Mahir and say, hey, we're in this together. I'm going to do it too. And then that way, you know what you're asking your child to do. You know the challenges that they're going to struggle with, but you can coach them through it. And like, what do you got to lose? But 20 pounds and a bad attitude. It's incredible to see that the impact that this has on so many people's lives. So
And
anything
the
else?
energy
What?
level increases. Like after work, you want to come home, and maybe if you want to spend some more time with your children, energy level definitely increases for yourself. Mark,
Mhm.
like believe us over here, we from first-hand experiences.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. So is there anything else that you'd like to share that we haven't talked about?
Apart from this, I think in reaching out to online communities definitely helped. I tried to figure out other more information, like medically available in my locality, but it was not available. But I would suggest to reach out to online communities that you can find that connects with you, and try to learn from those people. There are parents in those communities like me, and they are helping me out, like what to pack for lunch for my kids if I want
Oh,
to
yeah.
go carnivore. So they are also trying to help, because as a community, when we find help with some like interventions like this, we also want to help other kids, other parents, because we know that they are suffering. So just figure out, find a community that connects with you. As I said, Dr. Anthony Shafee has a community, and there are other communities over here. So reach out to them, and definitely you will find your own path.
I love it. Well, thank you so much. Maz, if you'd like to, go ahead and share your channel with people, and just kind of tell us if they wanted to learn more about you or reach out to you.
Sure. You can reach out to me at Mozammel. That's on YouTube. And I am, as my primary job is deals with software development, but the channel is mostly about software development. But I am transitioning that into a healthy lifestyle, and
Oh.
I'm taking also inspiration from you, Jeff, because videos like this definitely not only helps the community out there, but there are also lots of people in Bangladesh who might not be able to understand English so fluently. So maybe I will start something from them in our local Bangla community. So
I
thank you.
like it. So if you search them up on YouTube or you click the link in the description, don't be surprised if some of the videos are all about coding and software development. It's still the right guy. All right.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for taking your weekend morning to share your story with me. I would love to hear in the future about how you and Mahir are doing, maybe 6 months down the road. If you'd like to give me an update, I would love to hear that. Thank you so much for coming on the channel and sharing your story with us.
Thank you, Jeff. Thanks for having me and allowing me to share story about me and Mahir. Thank you.
For everyone watching, remember, we're all in this together.
Carnivore. Carnivore, carnivore, no greens. I keep eating only proteins. Carnivore, carnivore, so lean. I'm the everyday carnivore, know what I mean?